Hello everyone. There have been many talented writers for The Simpsons. Most of them nobody has ever heard of, except for Conan O'Brien. All of them have brought their own unique sensibility to what is arguably one of the greatest comedy shows of all time. There is one writer for the show that I would argue is the best writer that the show has ever had. He is the most prolific and the most private out of all of them. That man is John Swartzwelder. John Swartzwelder is an American comedy writer and a novelist. He was born on February 8th, 1949 in Seattle, Washington, U.S. His full name is John Joseph Swartzwelder, Jr. His influences are William Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Bob and Ray, Robert Banchley, S.J. Perelman, Algonquin Roundtable, and Steve Allen. Before becoming a comedy writer, he was a writer for various advertising agencies in Chicago, Illinois, and Houston, Texas. Writing for television always sounded more fun for Swartzwelder, so ever since he got into advertising, he was sending letters to TV shows off and on. Finally, in 1983, he was contacted by revered comedy writer Jim Downey, who was head writer on Late Night with David Letterman at the time. According to Downey, Swartzwelder didn't get the job on Letterman because he entered David Letterman's office without permission and complained to him about the current state of television while smoking and drinking. 2 years later, Downey would reach out to Swartzwelder again, only this time he would try to get him hired on SNL. This would work out, and Swartzwelder was hired as a writer for SNL in 1985. From 1985 to 1986, Swartzwelder would write for the 11th season of SNL. He would share an office with revered comedy writer Robert Smigel and would meet future fellow Simpsons writer George Meyer as well. Season 11 of SNL saw the return of its creator, Lorne Michaels, as executive producer after he was gone for 5 years, and it is also considered to be the worst season ever for the show. This is due to the fact that Lorne Michaels decided to hire cast members that were inexperienced with comedy and had eclectic talents, which made it hard for the writers to write sketches for. This received harsh criticism, low ratings, and rumors for possible cancellation for the show. In mid-1986, Swartzwelder would get fired from SNL, in which Robert Smigel claimed it was because of the network's pressure on Lorne Michaels to make personal changes due to that season being a complete disaster. In 1988, Swartzwelder was hired by George Meyer to write for his comedy magazine, Army Man. Army Man ran from 1988 to 1990 for only 3 issues and is very well praised within the comedy world. The magazine featured mostly short and surreal jokes, along with cartoons. In 1988, Sam Simon, a huge fan of Army Man, recruited John Swartzwelder, George Meyer, and John Vitti from the magazine to become a part of the original writing staff for The Simpsons. Many more writers from Army Man would eventually join the writing staff for the later seasons of The Simpsons, while others would go on to do other things. From 1989 to 2003, Swartzwelder would write for The Simpsons for the first 15 seasons and would also contribute to the Simpsons movie, which came out in 2007. He wrote 59 episodes for the show, which is the most that any writer has ever done for the show. 50% of what he originally wrote in his scripts would be kept in. This percentage is the highest out of every writer in the show's history. The typical percentage that would be kept in for other writers would be 25%. This just shows how damn good that Swartzwelder is as a comedy writer. He's such a damn good comedy writer that he even has a type of joke associated with him called Swartzweldian. Swartzweldian means a joke that comes out of nowhere. A joke that no one else could have written. A joke that sounds almost as if it were never written, as if it's always existed. A great example of this kind of joke is in Season 8's Homer versus the 18th Amendment, in which Homer says to a gathered crowd, "To alcohol, the cause of, and solution to, all of life's problems." Some of the most noteworthy episodes that he wrote are Bart the General, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, Homer at the Bat, Itchy and Scratchy Land, Homer the Great, Homie the Clown, You Only Move Twice, Homer versus the 18th Amendment, Homer's Enemy, and The Cartridge Family. After he left The Simpsons, he would go on to become a writer of self-published absurdist novels. He's written about 11 novels, 2 short stories, and 3 standalone novels so far. Most of his stories focus on the character of Frank Burley, who is a private investigator. On May 2nd, 2021, The New Yorker would release an interview that they had done with Swartzwelder, which is his first ever interview. Swartzwelder is an extremely private person, so prior to that he would always turn down interviews and guest appearances for audio commentary for Simpsons episodes. He only appeared in one audio commentary for The Simpsons in Season 9's The Cartridge Family, but that was an unconventional appearance. He only agreed to be interviewed by The New Yorker because he respects them, and he's been a fan of them ever since he was a kid. I'm just grateful that we finally got an actual interview with a man that has such a great comedic mind. Well, that's all I have to say about John Swartzwelder. If you like this video, and you want more like it, then subscribe to my channel, share, and like this video. I'm Vaughn Wesley, and have a good one.